The deity is upset, something's happening, and the prophet, now these prophets are seers, people who are social critics in this ancient world. These folks were a type of weird character as part of this way and culture of the time. They were to call the powerful to account when they went away from the promise, the covenant that the people had made with God. And so the social critic, poet, seer, the prophet, has a word to say to the powerful, and it's centered on the unhappiness of the deity. Now, the deity is unhappy because the community has not been faithful. The deity is unhappy because they're supposed to be a light to the nations. So they're supposed to be the examples for the other civilizations around them about what it means to live within the framework of this God. A God of love, a God of acceptance, a God of community, a God that cares for those who are at the bottom of society, a God who calls us to a better vision for life together with one another, a God of compassion and a God of empathy, a God of grace and mercy. They had veered away from that. But to add insult to injury, they were still doing the religious-y thing. They were still showing up at temple and doing the ritual life of the community. To add insult to injury, they were acting as if everything was just fine. I don't know if you've had this experience, but if you've had, I'm pretty sure all of us have had some kind of experience with this in a relationship. Let's say in a romantic relationship where you live life together with one another. And in this life together, there are these rhythms of that life together, and there are these covenants, there are these promises you have for one another that you have made along the way. Whatever that looks like. Every couple's different. There's not necessarily one set of those. And so let's say that one of the partners in the covenant is no longer living into the promises made. So that's just not happening. So then just imagine that then that other person continues to engage in the relationship as if they're all in. There's been no breaking of the covenant. Hey, it's all good here. Nothing to see here. It's just normal. And then when the covenant maker kind of asks some questions about this, they say, oh, it's all fine. Stop being so negative. Or I don't know what you're talking about. Let's just continue let's go out to dinner again. Let's watch our movie together. Let's snuggle up on the couch. Everything's just fine. You would be pretty upset, wouldn't you? If you're that other partner, you will be upset. You know that this person has not kept the covenant. They haven't kept their promises. They're lying. And on top of that, they're now acting like nothing's wrong. They're like looking at you like you're crazy. And they're just continuing to do the things that you normally do because that's just life as normal. That would make you so mad, wouldn't it? So the deity is mad because the people were just doing their thing. They were showing up at church, they were reading their scriptures, they were singing the hymns, they were clapping their hands, they had a good song, they were paying attention during the sermon, they were even giving their offerings, when the plate would pass by. They were doing all the things that good church folk do, as if everything was just fine. Nothing to see here. So this ancient seer, poet, social critic sees it and calls it out. Can't you see, he says, what you're doing? Don't you realize that you're playing little games? He says, God doesn't even care about your sacrifices. God is tired of your songs. God can't stand the noise you're making in your prayers. It hurts his ears You are a bunch of hypocrites. Why are you doing this? Don't you see that you're not living into what you promised? Don't you see that you're singing one thing and doing another? You're praying one thing and doing another. You're praising God and doing a whole nother thing. Don't you remember what you're about? What you're supposed to be? Can you see? Oh, community called God's people. Can't you see that you're supposed to be about justice, living the reality of God's kingdom right here, right now, justice, living like God lives in the world, justice, making things right, justifying them to the way God intends for them to be. Don't you see that you're supposed to be about mercy to those who are oppressed and to those who are in the margins? Don't you see that you're supposed to be caring for those who are least cared for in this ancient world? It was the widows and the orphan in our world. It might be the immigrant, or it might be the LGBTQ person, or it might be the woman across our church, or it might be the little children that don't have enough to eat, or it might be those easily forgotten, the poor, the destitute, the person with 3 jobs that can't pay rent. Can't you see God's people? That you're supposed to be about those things? That's what matters to me, says the deity, through the mouth of the poet, seer, social critic, prophet. Now we hear these words thousands of years later. They are beautiful poetic utterances that have a little bit of an edge on them. We hear them thousands of years later, and it's hard really to easily connect those to today at first glance. The poetry might seem a bit weird, and we might nod at it and say, amen, so be it, and yet we begin to look at ourselves and our life together. You, me, us, this community called First-Plymouth, or whatever Christian community you might be connected to, and we begin to ask the question, what is this about? What is this God about? What is this kingdom about? Why are we even here? And the prophet reminds us thousands of years later once again that the call of God's people from the beginning of time has been a call to goodness, and a call to grace, and a call to mercy. That the call of God's people for all time has been a call to come alongside the poor and the needy and the brokenhearted and the marginalized and the forgotten and the one who's made voiceless and the one who's taken advantage of. That for thousands of years, God's people are supposed to be a light and life to the world, and that's the call of thousands of years ago, and that's our call today. And we can play church if we want to. We can come and enter the doors of the church and sit and look good and sing our hymns and pray our prayers and listen to our sermon and then walk away as if we've done all we need to do. That's it. That's what it means to be a follower of Jesus. That's what it means to be a Christian. But we know that that's not just it. I know you know. I know. So the call is for us, all of us, today, in this moment. Are we in this moment? In 2025, thousands of years after this ancient prophet, storyteller, seer, social critic spoke those words, are we aware that this word might be for us together? So we're going to hold hands with our sisters and brothers and siblings around us, and we're going to ask ourselves the questions, are we paying attention to the right thing? Are we going to allow worship, our life together, to remind us of what we are about, to reclaim our mission to be God's people in the world, Jesus people who go and preach and proclaim and love and share and who are agents of compassion and justice and peace and mercy, who coming alongside those who need it most, literally alongside with them, suffering with them, struggling with them, being advocates with them. We, the people of God, living into the kingdom, may our worship life remind us of our call and send us out ready and able by the power of the Spirit. May our worship life not become another excuse for doing religious things. May our piety not become another excuse for not getting, alongside the people that need it most. May our do-goodism not become a crutch to what we are called to do as God's people, because the world in 2025 needs this kind of community of light and life. It needed it thousands of years ago, and it needs it right now. A people united together to come alongside the neediest around us. A community united together like us and loving in radical ways. A community gathered together like us, finding new ways of helping neighbor find a more flourishing life. A community gathered together, empowered by the Spirit to call out the powers that be, for when they ignore the plights of the least around us, we loudly, courageously proclaiming this good news. The ancient prophet had bad news at the end. He said that if we didn't do this, that there will be destruction. I don't think God is causing destruction. But can't you see it? If we don't join together and do it, can't you see how we then become part of the problem? Because destruction is happening around us. Dignity violation is happening around us. A lack of mercy is happening around us. People facing devastation, strife. People facing death, destruction. So people of God, wherever we are, let us join our hands together and listen to this ancient poet, and then feel the Spirit of the living God empowering us together in this time to go out there and be agents of the good news in word and deed today for 2025. Oh, what a joy this is.